This is what I wanted. There we go. Sold to original.
106.7%.
Yep. Sold price to list price. Average. Or we'd probably go isn't technically the median a little bit more of a, let me just say average. It's the way it feels.
So we're 7-8% over.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah, that's a good number.
Mm-hmm. Look at the maximum. Minimum maximum.
Minimum maximum.
That doesn't make any sense. This is a wide range. I'd have to play with the numbers, but I think the average, it's going to be a good number for us to work on.
Yeah, definitely.
And this is Baltimore City and Baltimore County.
No average days on market, 36?
Yep.
That's surprising, dude.
Yeah, this is kind of a wide number. I could refine that.
All right, so I click record. We're just going to have a nice conversation about the Maryland real estate market.
Yep.
And Ray, we're filming this, so we can cut it up. We're going to plan on going about a half an hour, just have a half an hour discussion. And goof here. We're going to have about a half an hour discussion, and we'd like it so that we can chop it in half and make about 15 minutes for Chris on the retail side of things and 15 minutes for us on the off-market side of things, but a lot of overlapping content. And so we want to have the big clip, for 20 minutes or so, and then each have half of that, and then be able to clip it down for Instagram content and whatever else. So anyway, we'll probably have to clip some stuff out, but here we go. So why don't we both just start and do some sort of introduction?
Yeah. Want to go?
Action.
Hey guys, you go.
Hey guys, it's me, Josh, with Impact Home Team, based here in Timonium, Maryland, just north of Baltimore. And this is my buddy, Chris Stumbroski. We team up on a lot of deals, and we wanted to do a video today on a market update in our area and things we're seeing, and then a little bit of information on what we see could help the other people that we work with. So, Chris, give us a little bit of an intro about you.
Thanks, Josh. Happy to be here. Team lead of the North Star team of Keller Williams Legacy in Towson. We're based out of Towson area. Been in the business for a little bit over 8 years now, and we're seeing some really dynamic changes, especially in the 2021 market this year, for sure.
Absolutely. It's just been a crazy market, and we were just kind of talking about this before we got rolling, that looking back at last year in 2020 and with COVID, people were just super scared that the market was going to fall off the face of the planet. And then even as far back as, December, we just really had no sort of indication here locally that the market was going to go nuts and everyone's going to be getting, 5 and 10% over asking price and things are going to go in 2 days. And anyway, why don't we start with the one deal that we were attempting to work on together?
Yeah, it's a really great example of how much the market has shifted in really just January and February of this year, the past 60 days. You came to me, it was a property in Bel Air, single family home, 4 bedrooms, 2.5 bath, built in 2000s, pretty traditional colonial home in the Bel Air market, right? You connected with the seller. It was, like you said, it was a PPC lead, right?
Yep.
Came through Google there, said, hey, I have a home to sell. It's just me. My wife has passed. Kids are grown. I need to sell this house. I need to move on with my life. I think your numbers looking back you would look back and you said offer $300 cash now. We'll take it, sell it as is, right?
No, hold on. We told them that we thought the market value.
Sorry.
We thought the market value listed with a realtor could easily be $305 to $325. That was just our indication here in the office. But again, we refer out if we're listing, so we refer to Chris. Our cash offer on this house was, we gave him a range of $230 to $245.
Oh yeah, it was way off.
Yeah. And so we gave him a cash offer of $230 to $245, thinking that we would be able to sell the house for $355 when all was said and done, after about 35 to 40 in repairs.
Mm-hmm.
When we found out that wouldn't work, we referred it to Chris. The seller enthusiastically wanted our referral to talk to Chris to list his house. So then Chris talked to the gentleman and...
Right. We had a listing appointment with him, took a look at his home, virtually, of course, due to COVID. But we saw that the home, again, being built around 2000, was about 20 years old. So everything was pretty original: kitchens, bathrooms, mechanical, roof, windows, everything, right? Nearing 20 years, things are going to start needing some updates and maintenance and replacement. So we took that into account. We gave him our plan of attack, what we're going to do for him in terms of getting the home ready, and what he's going to have to do to help us as well. And he made it very clear. I don't want to do a whole lot at all. I really just want to clean it up, make it as best as it shows as it sits now, which we fully respect, and a lot of sellers asked us to do that as well. So we advised him that, hey, just declutter it, clean it up, make it presentable, just a thorough cleaning. We understand everything's original as it sits. And we advised him we could list it on the market when he was ready in the springtime for $350, $360 range all day long, no problem, based on comps that we've seen in the past 3 to 6 months. And one asterisk on that is we never go back more than 6 months, just because that's how bank appraisers are going to look at homes. They do not use homes sold more than 6 months ago in their comp. So we always try to stick with that 6 months there.
That's a good tip.
Yep.
While you're there, what kind of range, geography on a map?
So very specific. We take first, obviously, the placement of the home and staying within the same neighborhood, not crossing any major boundaries, meaning main roads like a Bel Air Road, Route 1, I-95, something like that. We're staying within the boundaries of the neighborhood, not crossing any major roads, thoroughways, number one. Number two, looking for similar style of the home, 2-story to a rancher, that kind of thing. Bedrooms, bathrooms, square footage, of course, and then level of updates, whether if it's original, middle of the road, fully fixed up, brand new. So we're taking in all of those factors as well. But the big thing is square footage, bedrooms and bathrooms, and features, of course.
So for all my wholesaler guys and gals out there, I asked Chris that because he's very good at what he does. So when you're going to comp properties yourself, take into account what he just said and how he comps properties, and then look and talk to a few appraisers and see how they comp properties for you locally, because there's no need to reinvent the wheel. Do what they're already doing.
I've learned specifically from appraisers. I've always was fascinated on how are you coming up with values. Like, I want to learn it as well so we could give that to our clients and make sure we're providing them with accurate information. And the biggest thing is you really have to dive super local and don't go too far out. A mile or two radius is plenty in most cases. Unless you have a really specific, unique home, you should be able to find at least 2 to 3 comps staying within 1 or 2 mile radius and within the parameters of your subject property.
So a little side note for us, when we're pulling comps, especially in Baltimore City, which is the yellow territory right here, especially in Baltimore City, which has a notorious reputation, we're only going out 0.1 miles. So that's about a block and a half in each direction. Mm-hmm. So a slight difference there. But okay, let's go back to the house. So we had offered him $235 to $245 cash. Mm-hmm. We thought it would sell on the market for as is we said $350 to $325. Chris comes in and says he would list it for $350 to $360
all day long.
What happened? Did you get the listing?
We did not get the listing. Called him about a week later. He said, "Hey, we really appreciate meeting you guys, but I'm going a different route."
What happened?
We tried to ask, and he wouldn't really divulge too much information.
What did you just find out?
Me, as I do, always looking at the market, especially in areas that we sell a lot of properties and represent buyers. I was looking at some new listings coming on the market in Bel Air, and lo and behold, saw a coming soon listing. I'm like, that looks really familiar. Double check the addresses to my records, and coming on the market for $425. And we actually had photos up, so I was taking a look at the photos to see if he did anything, because it had been about 45, 60 days since we talked to him. He did exactly what we told him to do: declutter, make it presentable as it is. Like I said, coming soon. Saw it go active last weekend. Today's Thursday, and last weekend it went active about a week ago. Checked it today before we started filming, and he's pending. List price of $425 was the asking price. Obviously, we don't know what it will be until it closes, but it is pending. 4 days on the market. 20-year-old home, original. He didn't do anything.
So that went for like 15 to 20% over what you thought it could get.
Yes.
Wow, that's a really cool story, just because it demonstrates what an incredible, but also kind of, what's the right word here? Unpredictable
market
we're in.
I do want to add one thing to that is this conversation between you, myself, and the client at the time was about second week of January, and it's the second week of March right now. That's how different the market has changed in 60 days. It's mind-boggling, and we're still navigating it day to day and figuring out how to be ahead of the game and keep our clients abreast of how to win in this market.
Yeah, absolutely. That's great. Okay, so let's go. We have a few directions that we can go there. But really quick, let's talk about when you're working with clients who are sellers and selling their home in this market right now, what are you advising them to do so they can best capture that massive upside that's there right now?
The biggest thing that we're telling sellers to do is get going. Do not wait. Get it while the market is strong and the pent-up buyers are there. Every spring market, there's always a pent-up need. The weather starts getting warmer, people are getting out of their houses, people are getting excited, and typically spring market is pretty aggressive. Unlike as I've been in the business for 8 years, this is by far the most aggressive spring market that we're seeing, with the lowest inventory that I've seen in 8 years. So we have lots of buyers, not many homes at all, multiple offer situations. But going back to your question, what we're telling our sellers is the same thing that we've always been telling sellers to do. The home has to be show ready. You got to declutter. You got to depersonalize. Less is more in terms of furnishing, accessories, things like that. Cleaning. Cleaning is one of the easiest ways to prep a home for sale. No one's going to walk into a dirty home and pay top dollar for someone else's filth, as we say. But really the same thing we've been telling them. Staging, cleaning, making sure everything's mechanically working. Outside curb appeal is always big for me. I'm really a strong proponent of curb appeal. And that's something as simple as fresh mulch in the garden, leaves cleaned up, freshly mowed lawn, and we're getting into that season now. But curb appeal is big. When you get out of your car, the home has to sparkle just like it did online. So that's big thing for us is everybody's home search starts online these days.
Yes.
So your home has to show as good in person, if not better, than it did online.
For our flipped homes, I was very big on that same principle that it had to show very well, but also, like you just said, spend the extra money on the outside for the curb appeal.
Yes.
But then I think there's one thing as well, as when you're going to hire someone to sell your home, or you're going to sell your home, you have to get professional pictures.
Oh my God.
And not only just professional pictures, but you should find a great photographer, because drawing off of what you just said for curb appeal, and everyone starts online nowadays, that online search starts with one picture of your home. So that first picture should be a stunner, right? And there's a lot of people applying effects and that kind of thing to the picture, to the first featured picture. And I'm cool with that, because if it draws your eye and you click the listing then and you start flipping through photos and that turns into a showing, I think that's a big advantage to some of the homes that sell. They make them look really good online. They take time to write the listings as well, and you can definitely tell that when you look at some listings. Some realtors just aren't really good with their writing skills, and they haven't presented that home in the best light.
We're really methodical about how we list our homes. I'll spend 30 minutes looking for the best photo as the first photo online. And one of my longest running vendors is my professional photographer, who only shoots real estate photography day in and day out. That's all he does. His proprietary system in terms of editing and how he shoots, and I let him handle that. I don't ask too many questions, but we're very methodical about how we advertise homes online, because at the end of the day, our job is to get as many people through the door as possible, capture the buyer within the first 7 to 10 days. That's your window where you're going to get the most amount of money for any home in any condition. And then we capture the buyer from there. Oftentimes in this market, multiple buyers, negotiate to find a win-win for both seller and buyer, and that's something we can actually talk about, creating a win-win for both parties or no deal. But negotiating the best terms for the seller and doing their due diligence to make sure the buyer is financially sound and is presenting what they have presented. And so that's really not too much different in terms of what we're telling sellers to do. Maybe a little bit less renovations, but we're still telling them to paint, clean things up, curb appeal, all the basics, just showing the home in its best light possible. But we've cut back on, hey, this kitchen needs to be updated, or this bathroom needs to be updated, things like that.
Yeah, definitely.
So less money spent, but still effort getting the home ready.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, so let's switch over to buyers then. What are you doing on your buyers? With your buyers, what are you doing to prepare them to put their best possible offer together during their home search?
Yes. It's been a challenge with buyers, put it that way. There's only one buyer can win in the negotiations, and you're up against a lot of competition, oftentimes triple digits in some instances, for sure, in terms of showings, offers. 20, 30, 40 offers we're seeing on a single property at any given time, especially in the sought-after neighborhoods of Baltimore City, Baltimore County, things like that. We are preparing our buyers, again, like we always have, but we're really focusing on the data. Because I can tell the buyer all day long, hey, this is what you got to do. I'm teaching you how to win. We work for you, Mr. Buyer. You don't work for us. I'm going to give you as much information as I possibly can so that you can win in this market. Sometimes people listen to us right out of the gate. Sometimes they don't, and they have to kind of fail forward on their own first, and then they'll be like, okay, I might listen to Chris and what he's telling us to do. But getting the finances in order is a big thing. It's not even worth a buyer's time to go look at a home if you're not even pre-qualified or have your financing in order. There's just no sense in this market. And then you need to move quickly. You need to be aggressive. I know you work 9 to 5. You might need to get off work in the afternoon one day. Like, that's how aggressive this market is. If a home comes up on a Thursday, you can't wait on a Saturday or Sunday to go see it. If it comes up on a Monday, we got to go Monday night, Tuesday morning, something like that. So urgency is a big thing. We're telling our buyers, like, insane amount of urgency. So working with the right agent is big on that. You got to work with an aggressive agent who has the flexibility and can get buyers in when they need to get in. But so financing, urgency, quick moving, like we said, being aggressive, like crafting an offer that is going to stand out from the others. We're really coming up with new tips and tricks each week as we kind of go through, and have certainly lost a few offers then normally last year they'd win, no problem whatsoever. So we've become so paying for a portion of the seller transfer taxes is big, which means the seller is going to net more money in their pocket. So offering to pay a portion of the seller transfer, state, and recordation taxes is a good one for sure.
It's a good tip.
Being aggressive with the sale price is one, but then obviously the caveat with that is you might run into an appraisal issue if you're utilizing a bank loan. So being prepared to possibly come out of pocket with more cash if the home does not appraise for the sale price, if the seller is not willing to negotiate on that. So that's a contingency we're seeing. High deposits, big deposits. Like you can't be coming in with a $2,000 deposit on a $400,000 house, for example. upping deposits to 2 or 3% of the sale price. Typically, the average has always been 1% of sale price is pretty acceptable, but you got to be competitive and you got to be willing to show that you're a serious buyer. Another thing that we're utilizing and urging buyers to do, this doesn't work for everybody, but for the folks that it does, is making a portion of their deposit non-refundable should they have an inspection contingency with the right to terminate, which is a big one in this market. So our buyers are saying, hey, we'll make a portion, if not all of our deposit non-refundable, should we rescind our contract under the as-is with right to terminate. That's a pretty aggressive move, and this was more of a recent thing that we kind of crafted to be competitive in this market. Because last year, I wouldn't advise a buyer to do that last year, but definitely this year, I mean, you have to be competitive. We have a few other tips and tricks that we'll save in our pockets for next time. But yeah, it's just crafting an offer that's going to stand out, less contingencies, higher deposit, and you got to be willing to pay. That's what's going to win these days.
That's good stuff right there.
Yeah.
Okay. So why don't you give them your website in case someone is looking for an agent like you?
Yeah, absolutely. You can check us out, www.realtorsinmd.com. You can find all about our team, the North Star team of Keller Williams there, and connect with us. We have a lot of good content on there, videos, YouTubes about us, and just general local knowledge. So
very good. One more time. Give it to them one more time.
Realtorsinmd.com. Can't forget that one.
Okay, brings us to a good point here. So our website is sellyourmdhousenow.com, sellyourmdhousenow.com, and we are working with all off-market stuff typically. We wholesale, we're doing some fix and flips, and some also some buy and holds. But everything in my company with Impact Home Team is off-market, and Chris is doing everything on-market. And so there's a line in between. Mm-hmm. Sometimes that's a blurry line, but we do collaborate on the deals that we do. So let's talk a little bit about why someone would call you versus call me when they're selling their home, right? Because when you're going to sell your home, there's 3 basic ways that you can sell your home. And that's one with a realtor, so you call Chris. The second one is sell it yourself for sale by owner. Mm-hmm. And then the third one is you would call me, an investor. And so I like to say that there's 3 total things that you can get when you go to sell your house. And that's top dollar, that's speed, and that's convenience. If you're calling Chris, you're calling him because you want to get top dollar and you want to make it convenient. And in most markets, unlike today, it's not going to be fast or it's not going to be predictable. You can't make it on your schedule. Mm-hmm. If you call someone like me, you're calling me because I can buy the house fast, 14 to 30 days, and I can make it very convenient, but it's going to be at the discount of top dollar. So with that said, why would someone call you versus call me? What makes a very good client for you and a very bad client for you?
Okay, very good client. A home that is meticulously maintained, nothing wrong with it, structurally sound, mechanically sound, in a neighborhood that buyers are looking for. And of course, like you said, Josh, looking to get top dollar and the maximum amount of exposure. I think that's a good point that we didn't talk about yet is exposure. Having access, like we do as realtors, to the MLS, all the different avenues of the internet, social media. Social media has been a big thing. We have, intra-agent Facebook pages that we talk about properties that we may be coming up to the market soon and who has this, who has that. So I think a big thing, folks are looking for exposure, the most amount of eyes possible on a home when they're looking to go the retail or hire a realtor route.
Sure. So I would say if they're calling you, it's usually in move-in ready or better shape. Is that fair?
Most of the time, yes. Move-in ready or better shape is what we're looking to market most of the time. However, there's nothing wrong with a home that may need a little bit of love, but is not a full as is, needs lots of repairs, things like that. And we'll talk a little bit more about what we consider move-in ready, because you might consider it a little bit different as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think that's, if we could draw a line right down the middle here and say who goes to him, who comes to me, it would be that move-in ready line. Mm-hmm. Because Chris will take people who are sellers who are move-in ready or better, and for me, it's pretty much move-in ready or worse. And so Chris talked about what's a good client and a bad client for him. A good client for me is someone who is motivated and they want to sell the house fast. They don't care as much about the money, but they do care about the outcome. So they want X number of dollars and they want it by X date. We can help them accomplish that. That's more in our wheelhouse. Typically, it is in bad shape, or it might be move-in ready, but it's move-in ready or worse. So it needs rehab, it needs a lot of love. And my specialty is working with other investors to pass on these discount deals for rehab. We either rehab them ourselves or we'll partner with an investor to take down the house and then to rehab it and then put it back on the market with Chris. So by the time Chris is selling homes, these are usually move-in ready or better, top end of the market. When I'm buying these houses, they're usually in rough shape or maybe move-in ready and need some sort of love before they can be resold to families for that financing or for that appraisal and financing that families usually use. So that's just a really brief difference in who sells with Chris or to me. So
I think we kind of answer a question about who's a bad client. A bad client for me would be someone who just needs a super quick sale, no contingencies, just find me a buyer kind of thing. Or the home is in really rough shape, it needs a lot of updates, and it's just not going to show that well, say online to the consumer. So that would be a bad client most of the time for me.
Another one I just thought of is a bad area, because you were talking about great areas.
Yes.
Right? So it could be an
Which
okay
is a
house.
line, we got to be fair housing
Sure.
specific.
Sure, absolutely. So it could just be an area where there's not much demand,
Sure.
right? And if the demand's not there, it's not going to be right to put on the market with a realtor.
Exactly.
So that's a brief difference between us. What are some other differences when you're going to sell your house with you versus selling it to me?
Some other differences in terms of selling with a realtor or a wholesale cash buy your house for now, right?
Yep.
Buy your house cash now. Didn't we kind of talk about that?
Well, some of them, like I would say another difference, could be your closing costs.
Oh, you're right.
Maybe your timeline. Not something
Timeline.
like that.
Okay, so one difference would be certainly there are costs involved with selling any property, right? So the one difference going with a real estate agent versus a cash offer with an investor would be the fees. Typically there are more expenses going our route, but then that is typically offsetted with the amount of money that we can typically get on the retail market. So it's really timing and it would be the cost aspect of it as well. But it's all based on the situation. If you're looking to get top dollar and have a little bit of time, we can work with that. If top dollar is not a concern for you and time is, then an investor offer with Josh is going to behoove you in that situation. It's really all about the client and what's their goal, what's their end goal with what they're looking to accomplish.
Yeah, definitely. And I would say, to toot my own horn a little bit, if you chose to work with an investor, it's why you would choose to work with a great investor like myself, because in the end, honestly, I'm going to do what's best for you. Mm-hmm. If I think you can get a whole lot more money on the market, I will refer you over to Chris and make sure you get that. There's a lot of investors out there that are one-trick ponies that can only buy their way, and if it doesn't fit inside that box, then it's not going to work for them. But truly, the good thing about working with me and my company is that if you need to sell your house, no matter which way you're going to sell it, then I can help you accomplish that. Because even if it's not right for us to buy and rehab ourselves, I work with great agents like Chris who can definitely take care of you. So it's all about that network too.
Very good point.
Okay, so let's talk about one more thing that we both do. And that one thing is something that interests a lot of people, and that is marketing. So in my world, in the investment side, we talk about marketing a whole lot. And we talk about all the different marketing channels that we use. And we talk about some conversion in sales. And for you, I know you guys are really starting to differentiate yourself now with a lot of your marketing.
Correct.
Where before it's really come from a lot of your circle of influence, your sphere of influence.
Sphere of influence, past clients, just general referrals, people that know, like, and trust us.
Absolutely.
A big thing for us that we've started doing is a lot of SEO on Google.
What is SEO?
Great question. Search engine optimization around certain keywords that the consumer, anybody going on Google, is typing. Homes for sale in Baltimore, Realtors in MD, hence where I got my website name from. Whatever folks are searching for in Google, that's what we're kind of looking to capture. We're looking to capture that audience, depending on the keyword, and drive them to certain different parts of our website in terms of what they're looking to accomplish. Sell your house, buy a house, looking for a specific home in a specific area, whatever it may be. So that's one thing that we're definitely differentiating ourselves in terms of marketing to new clients, but also marketing the properties that we do sell as well. Putting our properties out in front of eyes first based on what people are searching, as opposed to just sticking a sign in the ground and posting it on MLS, things like that.
Yeah, that's really good. So we do, for marketing methods, for us, I would say our referral network or sphere of influence is a lot less utilized than what Chris does, but our outbound paid marketing is a lot larger than what he does. Basically, everything as an investor, the marketing that we do is all basically paid, non-organic, where a lot of Chris and other realtors marketing is organic. So when I say
Very different.
When I say organic, I mean sphere of influence. So that means word of mouth within their own circles, and now SEO. So Chris has created his home online at his website, and now he's trying to get more searches through Google directed towards him. It's not free. He's spending money to do that.
Of course.
But he's claiming his space online and trying to direct traffic there. A lot of our marketing is outbound, meaning that we're taking a postcard and sending it in the mail. We're taking a text and sending it to your phone. We're using dialers to call your phone. We're dropping ringless voicemails. We're doing SEO and pay-per-click. So we are trying to do a lot of outbound marketing to really stand out, but also be omnipresent in front of our clients. So I found that the sellers that we're targeting, our clients, can be a lot harder to reach because maybe they haven't thought about selling the home yet. A lot of the homes that we target are second or third properties. A lot of the time they're vacant, and so out of sight, out of mind. Versus a lot of your clients, I would imagine, are typically the homeowner, and it's very hard. It's not out of sight, out of mind. Their home is right there, has a high emotional value to them.
Huge emotional. We always say, like, this is a business transaction, but it's a life transaction, and it can be very emotional. It's a big deal, and we're honored to obviously be a part of someone's big move, because it's how many times do you move in a lifetime?
Not too many.
Yeah.
Not too many. So let's talk about you. So Chris and I have been working together for a year now, I would say.
Yeah.
And we've done in the range of 5 to 10 deals, I would say?
Yes.
5 to 10 deals together?
Yes.
Okay. And so last year we did right about 70 deals. So that was a decent little chunk that I did with Chris. And I've seen Chris grow in that time to go from his sphere of influence marketing now to a lot of SEO and grabbing a lot more of that traffic coming your way.
Yes.
So talk to me a little bit about, we were talking about that customer journey and how with sphere of influence, those are people like maybe your aunt or your mom's friends or your friend's friends or past clients' friends versus now people finding you on Google and not knowing you from the man on the street.
Sure.
Until maybe they talk to you. So is there a difference in how you speak with them and how you present to them or anything like that?
Yeah, absolutely. With someone who's not out of our sphere of influence, let's say a Google lead that has contacted us to buy or sell a home, we're certainly going to ask a lot more questions to get to know who they are and what they're looking to accomplish. Another thing we do bring is stats. I mean, most folks like to know what's going on in their market, so we're very statistical based in terms of showing them, hey, this is going on. it kind of goes back to being the expert in their field. They've reached out to a professional, so we want to be that professional and provide the knowledge to them in terms of what they're looking for. So it's definitely a different conversation, and we have to build the rapport up front versus a warm lead or a referral or something like that, who kind of know, like, and trust you through the network, or had their aunt. I worked with so-and-so, and their aunt now needs to buy a home. So there's a direct kind of relation in between, a direct referral or review, you could say. So that's a much easier conversation. You already kind of you're going into that conversation with rapport. So working with a Google lead, and I'm sure you do this probably a lot more often, because like you said, your leads are mainly more cold leads. You have to build that rapport up front. And for us, it's really learning as much as we can about the customer. What are they looking to do? What are they looking to accomplish? How can we help them and provide them as much information as possible so that they can make an informed decision? So that's definitely the big difference there, is just building that rapport up front and taking the time to learn about them, like who they are, what makes them tick, what do they like to do. So that's been certainly something that we've had to be cognizant of, is in our terms of our sales pitch, you could say, or in a listing appointment, however you want to call it.
So, if someone is ready, they're already ready to sell,
Mm-hmm.
and they're doing, they're meeting with agents or investors now, and they decide to work with you, what's the typical time it takes them to take your recommendations and get it live, if they're ready and willing and all that kind of good stuff?
They're ready. If the home is ready, other than maybe just a quick declutter and a clean, 2-3 weeks on average.
So we can get up and going pretty
fast.
fast.
Yeah, we can get up and going pretty quick. I always tell my team, our clients, I need about a week in terms of getting all the marketing prepared, photography, print marketing, getting everything uploaded to correct places for maximum exposure online, things like that. A week to 10 days is what we need. So if I meet with someone, their home's ready to go, I can have it up and running in 7 to 10 days, no problem. But oftentimes there is 1 or 2 things that the seller needs to do. So roughly, it's typically from the day we first meet to going live, about 2 to 3 weeks.
Oh, very good.
Yeah.
Okay, fantastic. Okay, so you talked about your customer journey and how that goes typically for you. So let me talk briefly on our side, because this is pretty cool going back and forth on both sides of the market here.
How they're similar, but very different.
Yeah, definitely. So a lot of the times, our marketing is outbound. Some of it is inbound, like Google PPC. People are coming to us. Sometimes they're calling us back from mail that we sent, so they're calling on their time. But most of our solicitation and marketing is outbound, meaning we're reaching out to you to try to ask you if you're interested in what we do. Mm-hmm. And so we reach a wide number of people that are in different spectrums of the customer journey. And so for us, I teach my team that people are either problem aware or they're unaware. So that could be with their house. If they're in foreclosure, are they aware that they have a problem with foreclosure, or are they unaware? There's problem aware, there's solution aware. So are they aware that there is a realtor and an investor who could help them, or are they unaware of any of those? And then if they are aware, there's company aware. Are they aware that my company, Impact Home Team, or Chris's company even exists out there, or are they totally unaware? So if they're problem aware, if they're problem unaware, they're at the very, very beginning of their customer journey, and it's going to be a long time to talk to them, build that rapport, and get them to sell the house, right? But if they're problem aware, but they could be solution unaware. So they could be problem aware, solution unaware.
Maybe explain that. Like, they know they have a home that they need to sell, or it's a burden on them for whatever reason, but they don't know how to go about it. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So they could be aware that they have a problem, a house that they need to sell, but unaware about the solution, meaning they don't know that there's a realtor and an investor out there who could solve their problem in different ways. They could also be problem aware and solution aware, but company unaware.
Yes.
Right? And so if they're already problem aware, they want to sell the house, solution aware, I understand why I should work with an investor, I understand why I should work with a realtor, but then they're company unaware, they don't know who we are, that's going to be a short path.
Mm-hmm.
They're already aware that they want to sell the home. They're already aware that they should sell with a realtor or an investor. But then you're just going to go in and pitch why they should work with you. That is the shortest customer journey of all. And so, of course, that's what we both like to get. It's going to be a lot easier path.
Of course.
But
it's not always that way.
No, it's definitely not. But us being aware of that customer journey as well is important because not everyone's ready to sell right now.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's, I think, an important piece to how we both kind of operate there.
And that always comes, for us, it's questions. So we try to ask as many questions as we can to learn about what their needs are and really what they're looking to accomplish.
Okay, good. Well, I think I've asked all the questions, so let me give you one last question here. If you're in Maryland, if someone watching us is in Maryland and they're looking to sell their home and they know they want to work with a realtor, why are they going to call you versus the competition?
I think it really speaks volume from our past client referrals. We go above and beyond. We get our boots dirty when things go wrong. We pick up the phone when someone calls. We get back to someone in a timely manner. We don't take our job lightly at all. We understand this is a really big move, one of the biggest financial decisions or that you can make at any given time. So we've really looked to come up with a solution that's going to benefit your best interests. We always say the client works for us. We don't work for the client. Excuse me. It's the opposite.
Cut. All right, just start like 20 seconds back. Just smile. Take
Yeah.
a smile and go.
For us, it's going to be big on our client reviews, client testimonials, past references, things like that. We're going to go above and beyond for our clients in terms of coming up with a solution that works for their needs. That's really big for us. We're going to ask a bunch of different questions, deep dive, figure out what is in their best interest, and come up with a custom solution for their particular needs. We understand each home is different. We understand each client's needs are different. So we're really going to listen and determine a solution, hopefully offer more than one solution in terms of marketing or whatever it may be to be able to get the client to where they want to do, to their end goal and what they're looking to accomplish. So just having the past client reviews, of course, the data to back it up in terms of what we do and what we get done.
Yeah, that's awesome. Okay, good deal. And so for us, I like to tell people, I always say that we're a small family-owned business, which we are, and what sets us apart as an investment company, I think, is what we say. We say what we do and we do what we say. It's the old-fashioned way, and I think a lot of people really long for that nowadays. They're tired of scams, they're tired of sleight of hand, they're tired of smoke and mirrors, they're tired of weird contracts, and they're tired of people just not doing what they say. So it's my word when I work with a client that I tell you what I'm going to do and then I actually do it, and then I have the results to back that up. So we have a bunch of testimonials on our site like you do as well, and I think that those past testimonials, those past client testimonials really speak volumes to your true character and how you work, so those are super important.
Absolutely. You know, I always say, we work for the client, they don't work for us. So we really do believe that. We'll give you as much information as we possibly can, but ultimately it's their decision, and we'll support it regardless. So that's big for us.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, this has been a really good discussion. I look forward to continuing it.
Yes.
I think in the next few videos that we do together, we're going to go out to some properties, or we're going to go to some nice places around Maryland and Baltimore. So
yeah, this is just the beginning. I look forward to it.
Yeah, absolutely. I hope this has been informative for you guys. I hope that you've learned a little bit on why you would work with a realtor versus an investor if you want to sell your house in Maryland. Give me your website one more time before we go.
www.realtorsinmd.com.
Realtorsinmd.com.
Pretty easy to remember.
And our website again is www.sellyourmdhousenow.com. Sellyourmdhousenow.com. Well, Chris, it's been a pleasure.
Thank you, Josh.
Thank you so much. We'll talk to you again. Bye, guys. All right. So I was thinking through that. We could
Not bad for the first one.
No, not at all. And it'll be all nice and clipped up. She'll make it look good.
Yeah.
It's just always, I found it so much easier for me if I turn on the camera and just start to talk and then get into it versus
if you think too much into
yeah, and then you're like, fuck.
It actually worked out really well. Like we made a few bullet points. We kind of knew what we were going to talk about. and then turned it into a conversation.
Yeah, absolutely.
If we do that every time, it'll just get better and better as we do it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I thought of two things. If you want to shoot 2 short videos, but I thought one, we're getting into TikTok, and I'd like to do one, the difference between selling with a realtor and an investor. So if we can keep it under 30 seconds, I think. So 15 seconds, 15 seconds.
I'm gonna lean to you. I don't mess with TikTok. So.
Yeah. So it could just be. I don't know. Maybe we don't have to do that one.
Is that something we do now, or are you saying in the future?
We'll do it in the future. I was thinking of it now.
What could we actually do?
We'll do it in the future. Just say like.
When I see TikTok, I think of like a skit. Is that not a thing?
Oh, it is. Yeah, absolutely. But they do like different things. So like it could be me and you in the video where like I'm talking and then I jump and then you come back down. You know, like weird stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I was thinking about
like something pops up and like I see what you're
so
saying.
future video idea. We could talk about TikTok between working with a realtor and an investor. Just basic criteria like that. If we can add in humor or something, it would be even better.
Yeah, we can play around with that.
And then we'll save this for next time too. But you know, while we have a little bit of a backdrop, can do something just like if you're looking to sell your house in Maryland, I'd be honored if you called me. Here's why: 30 seconds or 60 seconds.
Yeah,
like
and I'll come
more
prepared with that. I wasn't 100% prepared, but I know what you mean.
No, that's all good. We'll purposely shoot clips.
Yes.
Like she'll be able to clip this out. We'll have a big long video and
Yes.
then half and a half, but then we'll have clips too. So
Okay.
we'll be able to shoot some more clips next time.
Yeah, and getting out in the field would be good as well.
Yeah.
If we have a good case study, I mean, either listing on our end in terms of super fancy, looking real pretty, and then on your end with more distressed and what the differences are there. I think that'd be a great content to put out.
Absolutely. So in between now and then, if you go out, just start to shoot some videos. Like I'm walking up to
We
this
are.
house, is gonna be a listing.
We're getting better at it. Yep.
Right? Because
More purposeful about it.
the thing I've learned on these too is you don't have to be together. Like you can film it and then just put it together. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. Okay.
So you can say we're at a house today, and I can be like we're at a house, and make it look
And then
the
put
same
it together.
day. Right?
Yeah. Okay.
So that'd be good stuff.
Cool.
Cool.
Good stuff, man. How much?
46 minutes.